I became vegan about 7 years ago, and it actually happened because I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and she had just watched Paul McCartney's "If Slaughterhouses Had Glass Walls," I think that's what it's called. And I came out into the living room, and she was covered in tears, and she said, "I'm never eating meat again," and I said, "Sure, sure, it's just a phase." But she was cooking most of the meals at the time, and so she started cooking everything vegan for about the next week. And so I think I became vegan even before I thought about the ethical considerations or the moral sort of dilemmas of eating meat. And then following on from that, I started watching YouTube videos. They're just everywhere, obviously, about the immense cruelty that's imparted on these creatures, and that just kind of solidified my change in diet that had already happened, and that solidified it.
Yep.
But then I think ongoing about the motivations to be vegan is that I try to base my decisions on utilitarian type principles. So your ethical decision should be based on the consequences it has on other conscious creatures. So is it increasing or decreasing the overall well-being of creatures? And so being a dietary vegan, which is what I am, tends to align with that most of the time. So it's not always perfect, and there's other ways that you can do it, but it's a good sort of rule of thumb or a shortcut to be able to achieve that.
What were the challenges you faced when you were transitioning to a vegan diet?
I don't think there are any big challenges for me because I had done it without really trying to muster up the courage to do it in the first place. And I think that's where a lot of people have their issues or come into their imagined hurdles. And so I think a lot about, I work in psychiatry, so I think about, what the makeup of our psychology, I guess. And one thing that we're plagued by is this thing called impact bias. So we tend to overestimate the impact of future events in our life, for how good they're going to make us feel, or how much better they're going to make our life, or how badly we're going to feel about things. And that seems to echo this thing that people say, like, I can never give up bacon and all these sorts of things. And so people really over embellish the impact of just giving up meat or giving up milk or giving up eggs or cheese or something like that. And so I think I cheated in bypassing that by already adopting the diet before I then made the decision to continue. So it was quite easy for me.
So I'm not sure if this applies to you then, but when you were transitioning, were there any particular foods you really struggled to give up at the beginning, and it took a bit of time for you to remove them from your diet?
Probably eggs, I would say, would be the big one. I was a big fan of having a hot breakfast in the morning, having eggs on toast. So that was probably the biggest thing, but again, I didn't find it a massive hurdle. If the fridge and pantry were stocked with the right things, then it was quite easy.
How was your transition? A gradual one or quite sudden?
It was a quite sudden change, yeah.
Yep.
From I was eating a lot of meat. Like I think I ate more meat than the average person by far. At times I was taking part in stupid diet regimes like the Atkins diet, where it's high protein and low carb diets, and so I would have many meals that were just comprised of meat. And I essentially went from that to being vegan in the space of a week or so.
Do you think there can be a dietary preference like a part-time vegan diet?
I think yes, you can be a part-time vegan. Takes a bit of explaining, I think, but vegan was coined by this guy, Donald Watson, back in the 1940s, and he co-founded the Vegan Society, I believe it's called. And they define veganism something like, I'm paraphrasing here, but to reduce the unnecessary cruelty and exploitation of animals. And there's different ways that people can try to achieve this. So you have dietary vegans, where you cut out all animal products out of your diet. But then you also have ethical vegans who extend that to other aspects of their life. They'll consider whether their shampoo's vegan or their shoes and all these types of things. Myself, I'm a bivalve vegan, so I eat bivalves, mussels and oysters and things like that, and I base that on the thought that they don't have anything that resembles a brain in their nervous system, so it's very unlikely that they have the capacity to suffer, therefore it's okay. I essentially view it similar to eating plants or something like that. And so already there, we have part-time vegans based on what your reference point is. So I would be a part-time vegan in comparison to most other dietary vegans. But then dietary vegans would be part-time vegans compared to ethical vegans. So what do we do about that? Well, I think it means that it's actually, there's no such thing as a true vegan, because even if you go to these ethical vegans that try to cut out exploitation, cruelty to any animal in any part of their life, they theoretically could still reduce the suffering they impart on animals. There's no such thing as this perfect vegan. So then we have to ask ourselves, what are we trying to achieve here? And the common feature usually is that you're trying to reduce the suffering on other animals. And we have to realize that there's different ways of achieving that.